Yeah, what do you give me for that, Rick?
So what are you looking to get out of it? Yeah.
I'm
Remember, I have a business here. I got a power bill.
I heard from an expert that it was worth thousands.
Thousands of dollars, but Rick will give you $300 for it right now. Cheapskate.
Down on the strip where the neon glows, there's a little shop everybody knows, where history's bought and treasures are sold. Gold and silver, stories unfold. When the doors close and the lights dim low, Rick and Chum kick back, friends they get to know. Gold and silver by day, but at night, my friend, Palm after dark is where the stories and laughter never end.
RBF off. Resting Rick face. RR off. There we go.
RR.
You call it resting Rick face.
Here.
My kids call it resting
I'm going to give
dad
you something
face.
to smile about. HO Double Sizzle is on the beach right now. You don't have to go to the bar and have a drink with him after this.
All right. So anyway,
How you doing?
So Danny, this is
Hey,
not
brother.
normally how we start our podcast, but welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
Pawn
Thank
After
you.
Dark.
I am the king of not normal, so
Okay,
this is
as
perfect.
Chum likes to say, we chum it up, which I hate that phrase, but he came up with it.
We chum it up with our buddies. You
I
know.
love it. All right, good.
So this is a podcast brought to you by The Pawn Shop, led by Chumlee, co-hosted by his sidekick, a.k.a. his fellow employee, because he's not my boss here in this situation.
Okay.
Feels good.
Gotcha.
But anyways,
Gotcha.
we have Danny Koker today.
Amen.
From Counts Customs,
Yeah.
among many other things.
Yeah.
An actual rock star. He actually is in a rock band, Rick.
Amen.
I sing too.
Yeah.
And a successessul tattoo shop.
Yep.
And cheers to that. What did you bring here to drink today,
I
Danny?
brought something interesting. First off, thanks for having me, you guys. I feel like I'm with family. We go back about 120 years, and at least, give or take. And I absolutely love you guys. So what I brought, I was told that we were going to sip. I brought some whiskey from a group of guys called Hooten Young. So Hooten Young, and I'm a whiskey bourbon guy, and I'm kind of picky on my taste.
Does this have something to do with an owl?
No, it would be a good name for that. But I was in D.C. with Camp Freedom, so I work with an organization called Camp Freedom, and they're all about our first responders and our troops and helping them, in need afterwards. A fantastic group of guys. And Hooten Young was sponsoring the event in D.C., and that's when I met these guys. Well, the Hooten of Hooten Young is Norm Hooten, Mr. Black Hawk Down. Okay. So, and then his partner, Don Young. These guys are God-loving, flag-waving, patriotic Americans like nobody's business. The Black Hawk Down story is an amazing thing. Norm Hooten is an amazing guy. And they've started this, and it's veterans helping other veterans. And they've put together this amazing product that I absolutely fell in love with.
Well,
and
let me give you my.
While I have nothing, in the company. I just wave the flag because I love the product and I love the team.
Bourbon or
behind
whiskey?
it. It's whiskey, but they are coming out with bourbon and they have cigars and they do all this stuff.
This is definitely whiskey,
Yes.
but this is what
And it's
I like in a
12 years old?
whiskey.
Pardon?
It's 12 years old?
Yes, it is.
It has what I like in
Here,
a whiskey.
check it out,
It's
Rick.
not too. It's not too dry. It has a light, spicy hint to it. It's
got a
not
little bit of
overly
rye.
smoky.
it's
So it's
good, yeah.
it's a perfect kind of. It's got a perfect flavor to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here, check it out. It really is good.
Rick, are you going to go back to your teenage days and drink out of the bottle?
I did that up to my 50s.
So what? A couple days ago? Why stop now?
I've drank out of the bottle with Danny.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you guys have drank out of the bottle quite a few times.
We've been stuck on the side of the road out in the middle of the desert doing scenes out there, and yes, absolutely.
Pulled the HO Double Sizzle's Private Reserve out of his flask.
Yeah.
But I recommend them. Hooten Young,
No, I
they're
like
wonderful.
It. It's it's good.
Yeah, it's got a good flavor to it. Yep,
It's
and
properly
good
aged.
people. Good
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So everyone knows Danny from your, various different things, but
Yeah.
I think you first got introduced to the Pawn Stars fans through restoring cars and such for us through Counts Custom, which later led to kind of a spinoff of Pawn Stars.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily a spinoff of our show, but a recurring expert from our show.
Absolutely.
Who had a shop.
Yeah.
Now you have your own TV show.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get to that point, but
Sure.
let's start off a little bit earlier.
Okay. We'll go back in time.
Yeah, like give me a quick little run up. How'd you start in Vegas? Because you and Rick were here in Vegas long before I was around.
Yeah,
so.
well, I've lived here twice, actually. The first time I moved to Vegas was in 1978 and lived here from 78 to 82.
That's the year I was born.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, my
Yeah.
my socks are older than you. So
Well, it feels good to be young. No hangover in the morning.
So yeah, I had moved out here, with the family. My father had a job opportunity that brought him out here, and I actually graduated from Valley High School in '81. I went to UNLV for a minute. I'm definitely not a school guy, and so I lasted at UNLV for a couple of semesters.
There for the babes.
Well, just
It was UNLV back in the day. I mean, like, it's a party school now, but like back then,
right. It was nice.
remember Carlos Murphy's?
Yeah, big time, right across the street.
Carlos Murphy's. It was
that a
absolutely
bar
great,
or
okay?
something?
I mean,
Yeah,
literally.
it was
I used to
it was
go in there
great.
when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, like, literally, it's like, I mean, I
Whoa,
think they
whoa,
had-
whoa! Don't get no one in trouble, Rick. Carlos is a
I
good
mean,
guy.
I think all the statutes of limitations had
Right.
expired.
Right.
Okay, it was kind of like if you were tall enough to put your money on the bar, they would serve you.
Right. Carlos Murphy's rocked back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
It really did. It
was that a dive
great
bar or
place.
what was it?
No, it was
a college bar.
It was a college bar. Right. Yeah. Okay. It was really cool. The UNLV was really cool back
Okay, like
then.
I'm trying to think of the artist's name. We had the big picture of him on the wall here forever. The two-fisted art attack. The guy.
Danny Dent.
Danny Dent. Okay,
Got
so
you. Got you.
back in the 80s.
Okay.
In the early 80s.
Okay.
Danny Dent would he would just get just as long as you paid his bar bill. Okay. So Carlos Murphy's would pay his bar bill,
Right.
and he would do little art,
Right.
and get the patrons to buy the art.
Oh,
But
cool.
all he got paid was his bar bill. Okay, and then like 25 years later, some of them are going for $50,000, $75,000. But like you could have got one in there for like $10.
Right. Yeah, pick up his tab. That's great.
Yeah.
That's funny stuff. Well, and that era of Vegas for me was my favorite. 78 to early 80s. To me, it was the best era of this city. In my humble opinion, I'm certain that there were earlier days that people like that as well, but end of the 70s, early 80s was the coolest. I mean, I used to hang out at the Desert Inn was one of my favorite places. Remember the Maxim? The Maxim was again
me
another
and my
wonderful
buddies
place.
back,
I'm gonna have to say the 2010s was the best era of Vegas. I mean,
no.
Rick, I took you to the nightclub for your daughter's birthday,
I'm 60.
21st birthday party. Are you telling me that wasn't iconic? Walking in the nightclub, having all those lights with her name all around the place. Oh,
No, I'm just telling like 1986. I mean, because I'm 60 years old.
let's
so
set this up a little bit. 1986. You
Okay,
got
I'm
a full
21 years
mullet.
old.
You got a full mullet.
Full
All right.
mullet, get down.
We can go.
That I'd
I just
like
wanna
to
set
see.
that
I mean,
up.
not a full mullet, but a slight mullet. You know, I mean, there's still business in the front, party in the
little
back.
party in the back. All right.
Alabama waterfall, if you want to call it that. That was So, no, but like 1986, I'm 21 years old. Me and my buddies, okay, we used to go to the Silver Slipper on the Strip.
Amen.
Okay.
Yep.
Because
$1.50
the
hot dog
Strip
and a
was
Heineken.
way classier than downtown, but they still had dollar blackjack.
Yep.
Okay.
Silver Slipper.
At
Yep.
the Silver Slipper.
Yep.
We could literally, for $40, $50, play blackjack and get free drinks all night long.
Yeah.
And just have a blast.
Who was the crazy late night TV host that came out of the Silver Slipper? And he'd watch movies in the middle of the night and he'd be like, "Oh, you blew it now, and it's up to $3 here at the Silver Slipper." Whatever. He was this crazy late night guy.
Yeah, I
remember that? Remember
yeah.
there was a late night. It was cool. There was that Sid Sakowitz guy back in the late '70s, early
but
'80s.
the greatest late night
Don't cut
TV
Danny off.
personality. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm letting you know about the greatest late night personality this town has ever had.
Yeah.
Was Count Cool Writer.
Amen.
Well,
Amen.
Danny, why don't you give us a little bit of background
Amen,
on that
brother.
right there?
Amen.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Rick, I love you, man. So yes, okay. So fast forward, I left here in '82. I was in Minneapolis for a while. Then I was in South Florida for a while, and I came back in '89. So in '89, my family built Channel 33 television station.
Okay.
UHF TV 33, KFBT at the time, which KFBT standed for Koker Family Broadcast Television. That's what the callers were. And we had no news. It was a local TV station. So there's no news, just local shows and reruns and old sitcoms and this and that. But the city and the stations and stuff, they've got news and they've got other local types of shows. So they had personalities that could go out around the city and do things. Well, we had nothing like that. And so the ad sales department decided we needed something for the TV station.
It's a little flavor.
Absolutely. So we determined that a late night horror show on Saturday nights would be fun. It was old school. I grew up watching, out of Cleveland, I watched Houlihan and Big Chuck. And then out of Detroit, oh dear Lord, I'll come back around. There was a cat out of Detroit who was absolutely, Sir Graves Ghastly. He was phenomenal. Grew up watching all of that. So it was like, okay, you know what? I will host a late night horror show. Developed a character, Count Cool Rider. The whole premise was he's a vampire living in Las Vegas, a biker, and he loves Elvis.
Those are pretty good premises. Right?
It's absolutely it's
total
perfect.
Vegas,
right? So that's why Count Cool Rider. It's CC Rider, which was Elvis's theme song. Whoa, CC Rider. So Count Cool Rider, CC Rider, and for a little over 10 years, no kidding, every Saturday night, Count Cool hosted horror films in Las Vegas for a little over 10 years, man.
So they'd be
It
like
was
these
insane.
cheesy 1950s,
Oh, yeah.
60s
Oh,
B
yeah.
movies.
B at the best B.
Okay, and they would have a scene of break, and then the second break for a commercial, he would be there in full costume and makeup, going like, "Wasn't that ghoulish?"
Absolutely.
Oh my God, I'm going to look
Absolutely.
this up on YouTube.
Yep. Oh yeah, big time, big time. Look up Count Cool.
So how was that?
It was fantastic. In
you were-
all
I'm
honesty,
gonna imagine
It
you were
was
a local
cult thing
celebrity
here
at
in
the time, right?
No,
Yeah,
literally,
yeah,
it was a
yeah.
cult thing here in town.
It was.
I mean,
It was.
like it was what you did. You and all your buddies got together.
Yep.
Okay, like I used to do it with some friends.
Yep.
We'd be at the house drinking or whatever. Like Count Cool Rider.
All right, well, I
every
want to hear what it
Saturday
was
night.
like from Danny. 'Cause
Every Saturday
obviously,
night.
Rick loved it.
It was an absolute ball. It was one of the happiest times of my life. I enjoyed it like crazy. It wasn't like it was a moneymaker, but it was great for the television station.
And were you a local celebrity?
Big time. I would go around town. Now the TV station had a personality to represent. So when things were going on and other TV stations would go, Count Cool would show up. And so if it was at nighttime, behind the scenes, building cars and motorcycles, I had a small hobby shop. So that was always going. So I had built a Lincoln for Count Cool, 78 Mark V, black on black on black, slammed to the ground, everything shaved, custom, the rocker panels, I could push a button, they'd spread out to bat wings. It would throw flamethrowers out the all this kind of crazy stuff. So if an event was at nighttime, Count Cool would drive himself in his black Lincoln. He would go somewhere and he would show up at an event and do a thing for the city. If it was a daytime event, I have a custom 67 Cadillac hearse that I completely hot rodded out, and my own custom coffin, and I would take 6 guys and they would carry me into a place. They would take load me out of the hearse, carry me in, and then I would once I'm inside, I'd come out, and do the event. So Count Cool was all over town, man. I was doing things all over the place.
Well, no, I mean, like it was.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knew about Count Cool Rider.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a local phenomenon.
It was nuts.
So how long did that go for?
Almost 11 years, a little over 10, like 10 and a half years.
And
And
then
this-
It was crazy.
and then you had a motorcycle car shop on the back.
Well, that was
that?
behind the scenes. So my hobby shop, there were a few of us. We had a small shop, and build occasional hot rod, build occasional choppers, whatever like that. And it got to the point where a bunch of us were riding every week. We were riding all the time, and people were asking me, "Man, where'd you get that? Who did that?" I'd ride one of my chops or whatever. And so it kind of became evident that, well, you guys, do you think maybe we should do a shop? Maybe we should actually open this as a licensed real shop. So we decided we were going to take, and it was just a handful of us. We're going to take this little hobby shop and let's do it a shop. What do we call it? Well, let's call it Count's Customs because everybody in Las Vegas knows the Count. Let's take advantage of the fact because it's a local TV show, a local shop, terrific. Well, then you fast forward now another 100 years, and Count's Customs is now known around the world from assistance from my brothers. And so now wherever I go, people say, how'd you come up with the name Count's Customs? And I have to explain, I was a crazy Elvis-loving vampire for 11 years in Las Vegas and just called my hobby shop Count's Customs. I had no idea that the world would know what it is
because,
now.
I mean, like young people today, they don't realize how important back in the day local television was.
Amen.
Yeah, this was before cable, long before
Well,
cable.
Well,
cable.
it was on cable. We were on,
Yeah, but
at the time it was Prime Cable before it became Cox
But you
Cable.
have to realize, even back 1989, probably 40% of the population had cable.
Right.
Everyone else just did broadcast.
Yep.
I mean, we were just used. This was a time where you tuned into the TV and just watched what was there.
That's
right.
right.
There was no strolling around.
Yep.
There was.
Yep.
And
no surfing your Netflix app for 20 minutes to just decide I'll just watch the local news.
Okay, and his show came on around midnight.
Yeah.
Where the other shows were literally just turning off.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
so-
we definitely had a captured market. Vegas was it was insane because Channel 33 was just the small UHF station, but on Saturday nights we were killing everybody in the ratings. It was nuts. It was.
Do you know
pretty
Vegas
nuts.
was the first city with 24-hour television?
Really? I believe that.
You know why?
I believe that.
The
we were-
hotels.
No, and we also had first with on-demand television.
Really?
So when Howard Hughes bought the Desert Inn,
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
he ended up buying the local television station.
Yeah. Did he buy Fox 5 or something? No, that was.
I think I bought it was Channel 8, Channel 3.
Yeah,
I'm not sure which one it was.
one of the, Johnny
And,
Carson bought Fox 5 back in the day.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
So he bought the local television station.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he owned a movie studio, so he had the library. He had it shipped here.
Yeah.
And since he was an insomniac, he watched television all
Right,
day long.
right.
And then people would call up. I mean, this is like the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
And then people would be calling the television station, just freaking out in the middle of the night because
Mm-hmm.
a movie was going. They stopped it and put it on a new movie. That's because Howard Hughes called up and says, like, put on this movie
I
instead.
remember that. I remember those times. I remember that. And
Yes.
Speaking of the Silver Slipper too, remember that used to bug him because it was across the street from the DI. He bought the Silver Slipper to shut it down because the sign bugged him in his room. Remember that one?
And
That was
now
nuts.
then they tore it down for the Bellagio.
I don't
I
know.
think it was the Bellagio.
I don't know.
Yeah, but it was so much fun in this town back in the day.
Yes.
Remember going to like the dunes and getting a Heineken and a quarter-pound hot dog for $2?
Right,
That
exactly.
was a ripoff because when I was young, they were only $1.50.
Yeah,
you got a
well,
Heineken, too.
Yeah,
they would
Heineken
give
hot
away
dog,
things back in
$1.50.
the day to get people in there and play.
Yeah.
Now you're paying $40 to park in their
Remember
parking lot.
Foxy's
It's ridiculous.
Firehouse Casino
Yep.
for their 99-cent breakfast?
Absolutely.
Oh, dude, we used to ditch
Absolutely.
all the time when we were in high school to go. Just in the El Dorado, we'd get 2 or 3 99-cent steak and eggs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get back in the
When did you
Chevy
graduate
Suburban.
high school? When-
smoke a couple joints.
What year did you graduate?
I would have graduated 2002.
2002.
Yeah, 2002. Yeah, I'll be 43 this year, and minus my gray hairs, I'm aging like fine
Like a
wine.
fine
I look
wine,
better
baby.
and better every single year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy because on my birthday,
Yeah.
I will officially be as old as Rick was when we started filming Pawn Stars.
Really?
Yeah.
So what year did that start? What year did Pawn Stars?
2009.
Yeah.
2009.
We filmed the Sizzle in 2008.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
Which was pretty raw and hard. It was not like what the show is.
yeah.
Right.
It turned out great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, yeah.
Well, and
Speaking-
then
yeah.
we fast forward now to
15 years later.
counting cars
Yeah.
for me.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
So
So what year did you guys actually start filming?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I can't remember, but
Because I think you were on since season 1.
Well, no, he
Or season 2 maybe.
So I think
It-
he started right around probably 13 years ago.
Yeah, I remember it was
2012.
it was a Buick Skylark that started the whole thing. So
And the Volkswagen thing.
right, we had never really hung out, but through family connections,
Yeah.
we knew each other, and I just remember that whoever was doing, because you buy cars and you flip them, you buy all kinds of stuff and you flip it, and I just remember that you had told me that whoever you were working with at the time, that it was enough and you were looking for somebody else, and you were generous, and you called me and said, do you want to work on my stuff? If I get something, will you make it nicer and we'll get rid of it? Absolutely. And so it was literally a real a real business arrangement. And then one day, a phone call, and it was like, hey, they want to shoot a scene at your shop with this black Buick Skylark. Okay. That happened at the shop. We did a whole scene with the Buick Skylark. A week later, I'm getting a call from somebody in New York. Hey, we want to come out and talk to you. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to maybe do a show? I'm like,
okay, it is
what?
a roller coaster ride.
So it was your fault. I blame it all on you.
Okay, yeah.
And I thank you.
Because it's a roller coaster ride. I mean, like, when you're like like me, Chum, we're all just normal people. And then suddenly, like everybody in the world knows who you are. It's just like, the spotlight in your face, press in your face. Like,
You were already used to that on some level,
well,
though.
to a degree. I mean, I grew up. My father, when he retired from the military, he was a musician. So, I grew up singing as a young guy. I've been a singer my entire life. It was the first thing in my life. And I was a gospel singer. I was singing Southern gospel, black gospel, traveling all over the world doing gospel music with my father, with family. So I was used to being on stage. And then there was television involved also with the gospel back in the day. There was, I don't know if the name, the Reverend Rex Humbard out of Ohio. That's my Uncle Rex, and so I traveled the world doing gospel music. So there was a certain amount of being used to being in front of people. When I lived in Florida, I did a lot of live theater stuff, Burt Reynolds Theater and stuff down there. And then out here, Count Cool was happening, this and that. But like Rick says, when this happens, it's a whole different world. You are in everybody's living room at home every week. They feel like they know you. They feel like we're the best of friends. So now you go anywhere, and they're
when someone says, "Hey, Danny," you're like, "Oh shoot, do I know this person and I forgot, or are they watching me on TV?"
Yeah,
I get that feeling sometimes.
And it's funny too, because in the very beginning, I was told, pick a look that you're comfortable with and stick with it so you're recognizable. Well, the look I picked apparently is recognizable. Going anywhere is it's an insane asylum, as you guys know.
But it gets to a point after years. So you've been on television for so long, and so many people do. Like, I mean, like 1 year. I mean, I had like 6 months off, so I grew a beard.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I'm
do the David Letterman
like in a Home Depot with a beard, hat and shades. Like, it's Rick.
So they know.
You can't.
They know.
Like,
they know.
If you look at Chum, there is no. Okay, that is a face.
You can't hide him.
He's
you can't,
dude. I one time went to a
you can't
a
hide
ball
either
game,
one of you guys.
A football game in the winter.
Yeah.
Fully pants, jacket, hood over with a scarf wrapped all the way up, just my eyes showing. And I was walking by and people were saying, "I think that's Chumlee." This was in like the height of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. They're good at it. They're really good at it.
Yeah, like
I
said,
get hit with the voice a lot. I'll be standing in the airport. And,
you got that unique voice.
Yeah, and I'm in a line with people, and you don't really know your own voice. You can't hear your own voice. You don't know. You don't know how you sound. But apparently it's...
I know I sound like an angel.
It's absolutely.
When I sing.
Angels are from hell, too.
I hear harps. I hear harps when you talk. But yeah, I'll be standing in a line somewhere, and somebody will turn around. I knew your voice, man. I knew that was you. And it's just like, wow, that's a trip.
So
but
let's...
it's a blessing. Thank God people enjoy what we do.
On another note, just so you know, me and Danny... have been on stage singing in front of thousands of people.
That's
so
right.
I told you before we started this podcast that Rick would try his best to make it about him. So
it's not about me. I'm just saying we have
I was
both
included
sang.
in that. I was included in that.
No, what's it like singing on stage with Rick?
It's the best.
Do you turn the mic down? Because some people do.
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay, so like when I because we were at Brett Michaels.
Right, absolutely.
So it's the joke between me and Brett that he turns my mic down.
It's not a joke.
Brett's an awesome gentleman, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a good human being right there, Brett Michaels. I like him a lot.
All right, so
that's right. We did get to sing together with him on there. That was a lot of fun.
On the subject of Count's Customs, right?
Yeah.
You have a successful custom shop.
Yes.
And then now you add an aspect of filming to it. And
Yeah.
it's not like us where we're looking at an item, it comes in and then it's over. To
Right.
build a car actually could take months or years or who knows how long. So give me a little insight on, was there extra pressure on there? How did you guys deal with that? What were some of the challenges that you came across that you weren't expecting by adding this layer to it?
That is the $1 million question, Chum. You just asked the most glorious question I've ever had the opportunity.
That's what I'm here for.
To speak of. I've really not ever been asked it like this, and this is the God's honest truth. Such a blessing. So the hobby shop evolved into a business, a small business, and there were 9 of us. There were 9 of us when you guys walked in the building to shoot an episode of Pawn Stars with me. The show happens. With the show comes deadlines. There's a production company and a network with deadlines, and we need stuff done in record time. That group of 9 of us turned into, I believe, at least 38 of us, and Lord knows how many square footage of buildings that I added to feed this monster. The challenges were huge. There were, in the very early days, there were producers from ITV left field that had come out and wanted us to throw things at each other and scream and yell, and somebody break something, somebody throw a chair through a window. Just please don't. Just let me keep it real, and you guys will see that there's going to be so much drama here that's real. Can we just please keep it real? And I'm so blessed that the producers of the network and the production company recognized that and listened, and they allowed us to keep it real. And the drama was real, and the challenges were meeting the deadlines, especially in those first couple of seasons. As the seasons progressed, we constantly had things going. Mm-hmm. There were always projects going, and every day the production company was there shooting. So their challenges fell into the edit bay of remembering something that we started 8 or 9 months ago is now coming around, and we can put it together for the reveal. But in those beginning days, those first couple of seasons, it was like, we need you to get this done now. Well, now becomes money. And so Counting Cars was an expensive show. It was an expensive show for the production company and for the network, and it was an expensive show for me. Everything that I was taking in, I was basically putting back into the company to meet deadlines. And so during the era of Counting Cars, what I did was I invested in my brand. I built a brand that is known around the world. I can't say that I made gazillions of dollars doing that show. A gazillions of dollars went through the shop during that show. But what I did was I built a brand that's known around the world. It was a very expensive show to do. It was costly for both the network, the production company, and for me.
Because I'm sure when they came in there wanting to do Counts Customs, I'm sure Rick knows you don't build a car in a week.
Right.
Okay. No, because I'm sure
exactly.
Okay, because you got a bunch of guys from New York that never have touched a wrench in their life.
They don't even drive. They go in a cab.
So what do you mean you can't rebuild the engine by tomorrow?
Right. They have no clue. They have no clue. They're definitely in a different world.
You're telling me that you can't completely strip this car of paint, rebuild the engine, and repaint it in 3 days?
Right. Yeah. This
because other car shows do that.
And there's another thing right there. So I will tell you this. This is also another truth. So being really hell bent on keeping things real, I also realized that one day a television show is going to be gone, and what am I going to have? I'm going to have my brand. I'm going to have Counts Customs. So to me, it's extremely important that every vehicle that left my shop was correct, because that's going to follow me forever. So along the way, there were times where I have a wonderful example. There was a gentleman who bought this Chevelle from I believe it was from Mecum Auction. I can't remember if it was Mecum or Barrett or whatever like that. But the guy spent a gazillion dollars on this Chevelle because it had been built on another television show. And I won't say who it was because I know these people from this other television, and I have a ton of respect for them. They are a magnificent shop. They build top-notch stuff. But this was something that was built on their show, and they had fallen victim to those deadlines. This guy spent a gazillion dollars on this car thinking it was. He ended up having to bring it to me because it was a bag. And we ended up going through stem to stern on this car because it was built on another show, meeting a deadline. And this thing, it looked like people were throwing parts at it from across the room. It was absolutely hideous. I wouldn't do that. I'm so, again, thankful that the network and the production company allowed me to keep it real. It really brought challenges in the early days. As the show progressed and things were constantly going around the clock, it worked out good. But in the early days, it was a challenge.
Now, your breakout character, obviously you were the star. Did you know coming in there that Horny Mike was going to be a fan favorite?
You know, that is so awesome. I love Horny Mike, and people think that they're so many times over the years they're like, "Why don't you just fire him? Why don't you just get rid of him?" But you know, you pick on him on a show because you love him. You love the guy.
Rick can,
Right, exactly. And a lot of times people don't understand that the picking on is an admirable thing. The Horny Mike thing, Horny Mike.
He's the Chumlee of county cars.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. He is.
It's a compliment for both of us.
Big time. It really is. People love him because he's nuts. I love him because he's creative and he's actually really good at what he does. Yeah. Mm-hmm. When I met Horny Mike, this cat was airbrushing T-shirts on Fremont Street and living on some girl's couch in some flea-bitten motel somewhere. That was it, man. He came to me and he said, I just want a chance. I want a shot. I need an opportunity. I gave it to him. That's the only thing I gave to him was an opportunity. What he did with it was up to him. I give him so much credit. This guy grabbed the bull by the horns, pardon the pun, because he's always with the horns. He really has done so well for himself.
Well, I think he's an awesome, genuine guy.
He really is.
That comes off on camera.
Yeah. He is so genuine. Yep.
I randomly run into him in town all the time. He's a fun guy to hang out with.
He's wonderful. He really is.
And like going back before like the craziness of filming a TV show, my favorite joke.
Yeah.
Okay. What do television shows and hot dogs have in common?
What?
You really like them till you see how they're made.
Bro, I'm going to steal that. I could not agree with you more. Talk about serious challenges. It's serious challenge. It really is, man.
Even with Pawn Stars, it's like it's just like
it's
and
like, it's go.
Yeah, because when we're filming Pawn Stars, I have an idea of like they literally give me a little picture that big, what it is, and a note what the person thinks it is before we film.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is pretty cool. We might call it an expert.
Right.
And then they come in, and then when I see it in person, we're like, this is so obviously fucking fake. I mean, I can't, I got the expert, like, no, I can't call them up. It's just that fucking bad. Or you get, or when you get the people, because, like, we film with people who have never been on television
Absolutely.
before. And they're, like, the greatest, most normal people in the world.
Yep.
And then they walk up to the camera and go,
The deer in the headlights, man. It's a frightening thing. It is a frightening thing. Being on camera, fortunately, we're blessed. We're comfortable with that. So many people, man, they get in front of the camera, and it's just like you said, freeze up time. We've done the same thing at our shop. You have important reveals or scenes with the customers, and my Lord, the camera comes on, and they're just like, hey, okay, and you got to work with that. You got to make that. But here's a funny thing about counting cars that I didn't know was going to happen. When we first started the show, I really thought we were doing a show about building cars and motorcycles for people. It evolved into a show about people and their stories. Mm-hmm. And the cars and the motorcycles became supporting characters for these people's stories. I'm here because my father was in the military and he's no longer with us, and I want to build this. I'm here because my wife is battling this horrible disease or whatever, and we're doing something. I'm here because my children, whatever. Wow, I did not realize that counting cars was going to evolve into stories about people and their lives.
But it's always the story.
Yeah.
Like I talk all the time. It's like, the items people bring in, it's not the item, it's the story behind it.
Right, exactly.
Like it's the history and everything like that, or like who owned it. Like it's it's something about the human psyche. We love the story.
Yep. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's so emotional. At the end of the day, you got to download this stuff off you at the end of the day, because people come to you with really heavy things, man. Sometimes, and it's like, wow.
Well, no, and it's also about it's the history of the car. I mean, like how this car was made, and like it's a special car. Like you talk about like the Mustang, the first pony car. I mean, like it's things like that.
100%.
That's what people want to hear about. I mean, like
Well, speaking of the story, what's the story behind the museum that you have at your? You have like kind of a museum set up with all these cool cars roped off.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Where did they come from? And if you can pick, you got to have a favorite. Which one would it be?
Okay. All right. I'm gonna again. Good questions. So, I collect cars, and my father and I, we collected cars together for years. Dad's in heaven. The Lord called him home in '08, and I still can't cope with it. The most important person in my world. So anyways, we collected cars together since I was a kid. And as the shop evolved and grew and I needed some more space, I took the main building and just turned it into basically a museum of vehicles that I owned and laid it out as a giant place to just walk through, and of course a merchandise store, a t-shirt store basically in there as well. So, when you come to Vegas and you come to visit Counts Customs, you can visit Counts Customs 7 days a week from 10 to 4 if you want, and it's a free tour. Just walk in and you can wander around and look at cars for free and talk to my staff there and learn the stories on these different things and see a lot of cool stuff. And then, please buy a T-shirt on the way out because it helps to pay for these employees.
Exit through the gift shop.
Absolutely.
Disneyland model.
Exit through that's exactly what it is. You walk in and you exit through the gift shop. And so, you can see a collection of vehicles that my father and I started years ago and that I have then carried on over the years myself of a lot of really interesting, cool, and different. My taste is all over the place. I'm scattered everywhere. It's not like it's just you're going to see muscle cars. No, you're not just going to see sports cars. No, you're going to see a helter-skelter of stuff just as because it's what I dig. If it moves me emotionally and I love it, that's what you're going to see in the shop. It's really bizarre, really interesting collection of stuff. Motorcycles, cars, trucks. It's cool and it's different. And then my work areas are sprinkled in different buildings around it. So the main building is a museum. Come check out what I got.
Do you have one closest to the heart or
What's
most
your
sentimental?
favorite car?
Okay, that's a question that I can't answer, and it's an honest that I can't because I'm a weirdo. I love the sports cars. I love the big fat pimpy cars. I love the muscle cars. I love them all, and it's difficult for me to pick a favorite. I've never been able to pick a favorite, but I have one in my collection that is probably the most significant vehicle.
Now we're talking.
That it is a 1966 Mustang GT that I restored and refinished probably 25 years ago as a GT350 replica, the Wimbledon white, the Guardsman blue stripes, the whole bit. But that very car is the car that started it for me. My father brought that car home when I was 9 years old, and he held on to it his entire life, and then it ended up in my hands now. And so I remember being 9 years old and going down in the garage in the middle of the night and sitting in that car as a 9-year-old kid and looking at, and still to this day, so it's the first car when you walk in the museum, and still to this day, at the end of the day sometimes when everybody's gone and that place is shut down, I'll go sit in that car. I'm 9 years old again.
Okay, so he says he doesn't have a favorite, but he's got a favorite.
Well, he can't choose a favorite, but that one has a strong emotional tie. I mean,
it's tough for me to even talk about it.
It's like 9 years old,
Because it's got a tie to
probably-
your dad.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite car that I own is my dad's 1966 Crown Imperial convertible.
Amen.
And
Amen.
it's just like I see that and like
Your dad.
I just think of my dad. You know
Here's
what I
to
mean?
your dad, by the way.
Yeah.
Your dad was one of the coolest people that I've ever been blessed to meet. I loved
Exactly
him. I
what
loved
you
him.
saw on TV is what you got in real life, right?
He was not faking the funk. That man was real. That man was real. I used to love to come down here. We film and stuff, and I'd be a little bit early or filming. Goes a little bit long, and so I'm hanging out. What made me happy? Go sitting in your dad's office, sitting there and just chatting with your dad.
Pour me a little more when we talk about the old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of good memories with the old man.
He was amazing. He was amazing.
I also lost my dad shortly after you in 2009.
Sorry about that.
6 months before the television show ever aired. So,
yeah.
Rick, even long before that, my dad had moved to Georgia.
Yeah.
And Rick and the old man were always like a big part of my life, right?
Amen.
Especially Rick.
Yep.
Done many father-like things for me and helped me, steered me right. But the old man was always that grandpa kind of figure to me, and the tough love. He was very, very kind and very passionate. But he had his way. He had his way It was different than everyone else's way, but you knew he cared.
Old school.
Oh no, yeah, he was so old school. You want to hear my greatest life lesson in my entire life from my dad?
Tell me.
I'm 16 years old, full of testosterone.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I get in trouble for something, and I look at my dad like, "Fuck you."
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he just like no hesitation just clocks me. First time he's ever hit me in the face. I
Yep.
land on the floor in the kitchen like I'm seeing stars.
Yep.
And he just looks at me and goes like, old enough to talk to me like old enough to talk to me like a man, old enough to get your ass beat like one, and just walked away. I didn't get grounded, nothing like and I just go like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Yeah. And you never forgot it. You will
I
never forget
forgot
it.
But like,
Amen.
never said another word. Just
Yep.
like
They
old
don't
enough
teach
to-
lessons like that in
Yeah,
today's
they
society.
just don't teach. I
Right.
mean, but that was
Right.
one of the greatest life lessons I ever life. You just like,
Amen.
Just laying there going like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Amen to that. My
Yeah.
father was a wonderful blend of love and discipline.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful. I'm so thankful for that.
But like
I really
I
am.
had epilepsy kid. He treated me no different. Like 12
Yeah.
years old. When he. This is how old school my dad was. 12 years old. You're old enough to get a job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yep.
like and my dad used to make us work construction.
Yep.
I mean he'd literally buy condemned apartments, and that's what we
Yep.
we did on the weekends and all summer long was working on his apartments. And like
Yep.
it's 5:30, 6 in the morning. Get your nail bags. Get in the truck.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, there wasn't a choice. And then by the time I was 16 years old, I could wire, roof a house. I could frame. I could frame. I could do
Amen to
anything.
that. And you're thankful for these things.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
Same way. I started working as a child as well, as a kid as well. It's time for you to go work.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it. And I'm thankful. Man, here's to our dads. Here's to our
Yes.
dads.
Cheers
There's nothing
to
like
dads.
dads. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
So going back to counting cars, actually Counts Custom, the shop,
Okay.
blended with counting cars.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular on-show build that the fans can relate to that maybe was just more difficult, or maybe one that was more fun than came across on TV? One that really sticks out.
What was the funnest car you ever rebuilt on the show?
I had a ball doing Barry White's Stutz four-port. And Barry was no longer with us. He had passed. But his widow, Glodine, she is wonderful. I love this lady. And she's a biker, too. I mean, she rides. I'm talking, she got fingernails out to here, and she got all this going on. But this girl rides Harleys and stuff. So we had met through Sugar Bear, who's the gentleman who does the long, narrow Springer front ends that I use on my chops. And so I'd met Glodine. And just through Sugar Bear and some bike events, she's really cool. And I talked to her because I remember when Barry White had a place here in Vegas, and he used to drive around in this Stutz four-port, which is the four-door version of the Stutz. And I asked her, I said, whatever happened to that car? And she told me the story. She says, there was a gentleman that was kind of like Barry's guy. He was on the payroll, and he took care of Barry's stuff. So he would take care of his car for him all the time, blah, blah, blah. So when Barry had passed, he had willed the Stutz to this guy. So the car went to him. She's like, all I know is that this guy took the car, and then this guy got into problems in his life and got involved in bad things, and I lost track of him and lost track of the car, and I don't know whatever happened. And I really wish someday I would love to find that car. It would be the greatest thing in the world. This is true, man. This is true. This is how I know God watches over us. So we're shooting Counting Cars one day. And this was back when you could drive around neighborhoods and look for stuff. It ain't safe to do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. So I'm driving around this neighborhood, and I miss a turn. I was going to go left, and I miss a turn, and I'm like, crap, I got to go down here and turn around. If I didn't miss that turn, none of this would have happened. Thank you. So I go to turn around, and where I go to turn around, somebody's got this motorhome in a driveway, and you can't see. On the other side of this motorhome in his driveway is this Stutz four-port. The paint is faded off, 4 flat tires laying on the ground, spider webbed to the concrete. This thing has been sitting there for God knows how long. And I remember Barry's car, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, oh my Lord, this looks exactly like Barry's car. So I go and I knock on the door. Nobody home. I just remember there's a cat sitting in the window staring at me, and I'm like, I wish you could tell me something. So I leave a note. I want to talk to you about this car in the driveway. The very next day, I get a call from this lady. She's like, I'm so glad you called. I hate this thing. I want it out of my driveway. Please take it out of here. I can't stand it. My ex-husband got it from some guy, and he claimed that he was someday going to redo this, and he's gone, and this thing is just, it's an eyesore. I want it out of my driveway. Okay. I go and I meet her. I look at the car. I get the VIN number and everything off the car. I said, give me a little bit. I call Glodine, Barry's widow, and I'm like, Glodine, do you have any paperwork on that car? If I give you a VIN number, can you look? I give her a VIN number. It's his car. It's Barry's car. I'm like, I found Barry's car. She's like, no. I'm like, yes. What does she want for it? I'm like, I don't know. I go and I talk to this lady. She gives me this number that is literally a number to just haul it out of the driveway. She wants nothing. Get it out of my life. And again, I'm a firm believer. Oh, my Lord, I'm a firm believer in God. So I just say to myself, God's not going to bless me if I steal this car from this woman. I have to tell her the truth. I want you to know, ma'am, this is Barry White's car. So there is a certain amount of value to it, even though it needs literally everything. So she thanked me for my honesty. I gave her a reasonable number to pull it out of the driveway. And I pulled it out of the driveway, and I brought it back to the shop, and I called Glodine, and I said, I got your man's car. And she couldn't believe it. And I said, I'm going to restore this for you, okay? And she's like, absolutely. She wanted it done and restored. So I got to completely restore Barry White Stutz 4-port, which was a challenge and a half because nobody makes anything for a Stutz 4-port, for Pete's sake. And so it was very challenging, but we got it all done. Got it back to Glodine. Glodine and her son, Kevin, Barry's son, came out. And I got the car back to them. Since then, the car has been with the entire family. It's now done, I believe, 2 weddings with the family with that. So it's just been that was really an important build to me, and it was really cool to do that for the family. That was an important one. Another one that really stands out for me was 4-star General Peter Pace, Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, retired Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, 4-star General Peter Pace. I had met him at a private event, and he was he's an amazing guy. And he wanted a 67 Corvette. And he wanted it to look like a 67 Corvette, but he wanted it to be all new. And so underneath the skin, the car is completely, I mean, it's so wicked cool. But it's just a gorgeous car, and he drives it all the time. I stay in touch with him. Yeah. It's really neat. Over the years, I got to build Michael Madsen's Mustang. I love Michael Madsen. Got to do his Mustang. Got to do Alice Cooper's Avanti. It's just.
I mean, like,
it's
no,
like
it's a storied life. I mean, like,
it really is.
I mean, like,
it really is.
Like, because I'm just a motorhead at heart. I mean,
Yes.
like,
I know you
just
are. I know you.
love to work
Dude,
on stuff.
oh, wait. I got another favorite. I once built a Bullet Mustang replica for a guy named Rick Harrison.
That was pretty good, yeah.
I'm a monster Steve McQueen fan.
Yeah.
Rick Harrison, I will bow down. He trumps me on being a Steve McQueen fan. I thought I was the biggest Steve McQueen fan. It's Rick.
No,
For sure. He has a giant...
Doing that Bullet Mustang. It's one of my favorite cars in the world. But
he has a Steve McQueen complex for sure.
Yeah, big time.
Like Steve McQueen, like my entire life, I wanted to race the Baja 1000 because Steve McQueen was in the Baja 1000.
Absolutely, under assumed names.
I'll just say this for the first time on the podcast. I'm racing the Baja 1000 this year.
Amen.
Really?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, like,
congrats.
So who's going to drive? Like, you'll be in the passenger seat, right?
No, I'm driving.
But
Amen.
No, I'm just okay. So like,
Are you taking your
Steve
airplane?
McQueen did it. Mouse McCoy did it. Iron the Iverman Stewart did it. There's
So
only
Rick
been a
Harrison's
handful of
gotta do
guys
it?
who's actually driven the entire race. They always
Right.
change drivers. I'm doing
Right.
100 miles of it.
That's
But
cool.
There's less than a dozen guys who have ever started
Yep.
and ended
Yep.
the Baja 1000.
well, maybe we should document that and do a little mini series for the podcast.
No, but I'm actually
That'd be cool.
doing
Yeah.
a 100-mile leg of the Baja 1000.
That would be
it's like a
cool.
life dream. It's like Steve McQueen did it. I could do it too.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a. I'm just going to lay this out here in front of everybody right now. I got a concept for a special. I don't know if it's a 1-hour special or a 2-hour special or whatever like that. But we should just take a couple of cars. I don't know, a couple of cool cars, and just go on a road trip. Road trip with us. Just go on a road trip with us.
I like
I
that idea.
mean,
That could be done by Rick Harrison Productions.
Absolutely.
who has to sit passenger seat with Rick and listen to the music too loud because he can't hear
Well,
very good?
here's the thing, though. You can bring a car. You can bring a car. I can bring a car. And if we want someone else to bring a car, and we can have radios, or we can talk to each other, and we can have all the
I'll have to borrow a
GoPro,
car, though, 'cause
cameras,
I
and
don't
like
have any
that.
badass
And we
car.
pick a route, be it historic Route 66 or whatever like that.
Okay, you guys might have
We
to
need a
drive a
road
little
trip.
slow because I might be driving a 1973 Volkswagen thing.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'll take a 66 Cadillac ragtop.
Okay.
We'll
All
just
right. I
cruise.
know this show is all about you, but I'm going to tell you a story about the 1973 Volkswagen thing you restored.
Do
for
you
me.
still have it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, amen. I love that
Okay.
car.
So this is like 11 years ago.
Yep.
Okay. You know I have my
Yep.
ranch up in Oregon.
Yep.
Okay. So
I love that. I love
okay.
that
So
you still
like
have
I,
that.
you know, at the time I had a camper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That went in the back of my truck.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to keep. I decided I was going to keep the Volkswagen thing
Yeah.
in my ranch in Oregon. So
That's cool.
I got on Amazon and bought a 65-gallon gas tank for my dually. Okay. Because
Okay.
I just wanted some more distance out of it. Okay.
Right.
You know, I think it was made in China.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it was made in China. This
Yeah.
gas tank was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, strap it to the bottom. You know, take the factory tank out, put the 65-gallon diesel tank in my.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, I'm towing the Volkswagen thing behind me, and we get to right for the border of California and Oregon. And we're like, why am I almost out of fuel? That's weird. Burning a lot more than I thought. Pull
Yeah.
the gas station.
Yeah.
Start filling up with diesel.
Yeah.
Look out at my truck, starts pulling out the bottom. The strap broke that held the gas tank up, one of the straps.
Oh, yeah.
And the gas tank was literally resting on the drive shaft.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
strapped it up. I strapped it up and put some duct tape on it. The gas tank would hold 5 gallons. Okay, so I get to Medford, Oregon. We spend the night on the side of the road. Get to the Ford dealership the next day. They go like, we obviously don't have a factory gas tank and the
Yeah.
straps and all that stuff
Yeah.
in stock. It's going to be a week.
Yeah.
I'm going like, fine. So we literally left the camper there. We left the truck there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we didn't have any suitcases. Okay, because we had the camper, so we did have a laundry basket. So, we disconnected. The Volkswagen thing. Okay, so I got to drive 200 miles in this Volkswagen thing through the mountains. Okay, so we're going up mountains. We're doing 30 miles an hour
Absolutely.
in a
At best.
Volkswagen thing covered in diesel fuel, stinking like diesel fuel.
No
Okay?
smoking, please.
Okay, and we didn't quite make it to my ranch that night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we stop at like this Indian casino and everything. We pull into valet.
Right.
With
Oh,
a
gosh.
Volkswagen thing
Covered in-
diesel fuel. Okay. And we got a hamper. We got a laundry basket with a bottle of whiskey sitting on the top, and we're like, dude, don't even ask. But the Volkswagen thing
Yep.
saved the day.
I love it. I'm so glad that it saved the day. That's awesome. Yeah. You didn't set any land speed records, but yeah, man.
Yeah, but like we're in Oregon. We're like there's mountains everywhere, and like literally, it's like 30 miles an hour going up this hill, going like. Oh
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Factory, that car is 44 horsepower.
That's it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but it was, but I still love the Volkswagen. I mean, like literally, it's because I'm just down. It's literally 12 miles to the beach, like
Right.
from my place.
Right.
But like one
Nice.
of the funnest things I do with that is because it's Oregon, you can drive it on the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
So like we literally like take the Volkswagen thing up and down the
How
up
awesome
and down
is
the
that?
beach. And, like
Right.
it's so
It's
much
the
fun.
perfect vehicle for
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Not good for road tripping.
Okay, and that is the car I've taught all my kids how to drive a stick shift with.
That's cool. And it's cool that you taught the kids how to drive stick shift. I always call that like the ultimate millennial anti-theft device.
Oh, it is.
Because
Like,
nobody knows how to drive stick.
Well, my son Jake, my youngest one,
right,
like,
right.
When he graduated high school, I told him to get him a new Jeep.
Right.
He goes, Dad, it's got to be a stick.
I
I go like,
I love
why
it.
do you want a stick? He goes, so I can call all my friends bitches.
I love it. I love it. He's right on the money. He's right on the
Yeah, I
money.
definitely learned how to drive a stick for my first car too, but
Yeah.
it was
A Geo Metro.
a Geo Metro.
Wow, man.
So tell us here what you brought. Let's switch gears a little
All right,
once again. What do you got here?
I didn't know what to bring. So it's like
I'm going to preface this by saying, since we're on YouTube, that we have fully looked at this
Right.
firearm here, and
Right.
it is unloaded.
It is unloaded. It is completely unloaded. It's a display piece. It's actually never been fired. So what do I collect? I collect cars. as far as interesting pieces, I don't know. This was a gift. This was a gift, and it is a 357 Magnum, and it's an Elvis Presley TCB revolver, a collector piece, and it is covered in.
That is badass.
It is wicked cool, and you can see it's absolutely empty. Check it out, man. Tell me what it's completely covered in.
Is that Elvis Presley?
It's engraved all over the place with Elvis Presley scenes all over it.
That is absolutely amazing.
It's kind of a cool piece,
I mean,
right?
Like, so Elvis, I mean, like the younger gen, but like there's been a lot of movies, and I think it's sort of elevated, but especially the movie that came out a few years ago.
Right.
And the other movie about his Colonel Tom Parker.
Right. Well, see, I'm a huge Elvis fan, so
This is really cool.
Thank
this
you.
Is amazing.
I thought it was a really cool piece. I have no idea, a value of something like this. I don't know, but it's just a really neat thing.
It's thousands of dollars. Yeah, that is like super.
Amen.
Cool, yeah.
Amen.
It's thousands of dollars, but Rick will give you $300 for it right now. Cheapskate. Go on, say it. It's the best I can do. Pull your mic up and say it for everyone.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
So
what do you give me for that, Rick?
So what are you looking to get out of it? Yeah.
I'm
Remember, I have a business here. I got a power bill.
I heard from an expert that it was worth thousands. So I actually have no idea.
It's something really cool.
Thank you. I think it's a cool piece.
You said her like say you don't really collect stuff, but like
I don't.
Like it would be really difficult for this to go away from you, would it?
This was from my sister, so it was an important. She knows I'm a huge Elvis fan, and I am a gun guy. I love guns, and I'm a huge Elvis fan, and my sister collects a lot of really interesting memorabilia stuff. So she found that and scored that for me, and I've had it. I've literally had that for probably 15 years. And,
I'm gonna look at the engraving here.
Yeah, bro, check it out, Chum. You're gonna dig it. You get into some of the scenes. There's all kinds of scenes. I mean, there's like him and his Cadillac on it. There's all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I love Elvis too, and I just think like modern press in Hollywood, they don't give him the credit he deserves. He
No, they don't.
He was he played multiple instruments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big time.
Had the voice of an angel.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
He changed what rock and roll was.
He could hip thrust with the best of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, but the thing
he
is,
was so
literally
controversial.
changed music.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, rock and roll was whatever it was rock and roll in the 1950s, but like when he came out, there was nothing like him.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And,
Absolutely nothing.
I mean, he put just so much soul into it.
Yep.
And because before Elvis, you were supposed to stand on stage in a rigid position,
Right.
and sing the song.
Right.
I mean, more conservatively. I don't know the exact word. I can't come up with it. But he came out there and like you could just tell the music was flowing through him,
Yep.
and it was something completely different.
He tore it up.
Yeah.
He tore it up. I mean, when the Ed Sullivan Show had to shoot him from the waist up, I mean that was a big deal. They weren't allowed to show this man shaking it out there. It was wild. But the other thing about Elvis, huge gospel guy. Talk about.
Yeah.
He was hooked on gospel singing. He was hooked on gospel quartet
Well,
singing.
he had some
loved
actual
all that.
gospel albums, right?
Absolutely. I have so much respect and admiration for Elvis. I love everything about him. I think he's really awesome. I'm a
The
huge
crazy
Elvis
thing,
fan.
though, is he never played overseas.
You're right. The Colonel didn't want that.
Because the Colonel couldn't go overseas.
Colonel
'cause he was afraid if he-
couldn't go overseas. You're
Because he's
right.
afraid if he tried to come back for
Right. Right.
immigration would like say no.
Right.
You're supposed to go wherever you're supposed to go. Because Colonel Tom Parker was like really shady, and most people don't really know what he
Right.
did.
Colonel
before
was
he
great
was
for Elvis and bad for Elvis simultaneously.
Yeah.
There was a controversy there.
But no, there's something about Elvis, and like if you know the history and if you listen to the music and a lot of the history of Elvis, a lot of people like Elvis. Do a little research, you'll fall in love with him.
Absolutely. There is so much coolness there. That guy is the coolest. So this piece, I thought it would be an interesting piece for you
No,
to,
I
to
absolutely.
see. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, I have not seen
Okay.
that gun.
All right.
and I'm
It's limited to 500. I read the placard.
You what?
I've
It's limited to 500.
Limited to 500.
because
and like I
I'm
said,
kind
I've
of
had it
a-
for 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
I mean, I got a lot of fire. I mean, I got
I
a
know
lot of
you
guns.
do.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've never seen that particular one.
Amen.
I
All right.
definitely don't have any guns.
I brought something else interesting.
Okay, let's
All
see
right,
it.
what else we got?
Okay.
Are you going to propose to Rick?
as as I'm wearing my Detroit Life shirt, I'm a Detroit boy. I was born in Akron, Ohio, but grew up between Cleveland and Detroit, my two cities I grew up in. My entire family on my father's side worked for Ford Motor Company forever. And I've never seen anything like this before. You've seen so many things, so you may have. My Aunt Mary, God bless her, she's no longer with us, but she worked for Ford Motor Company forever. And even back through the war days when they changed the assembly line, and she was building wings for airplanes and
Okay.
stuff back in the day. I mean, this was all the deal. So way back. They apparently they used to do this. She had this to be given to me when she passed, and it's a ring that she was given to by Ford Motor Company for working for Ford Motor Company for 25 years. So if you can get down in there, it says 25 years on the ring, and it has a picture of Henry Ford on it, and it's a ring
That's cool.
by Ford from Ford. For back in the day, have you ever? I've never seen.
No,
anything
I've seen
like
these
that.
before.
Okay.
And like, it's
Is
something.
that actually Henry Ford's face on the ring?
Yeah. It's
No,
his
because,
profile.
like,
Yeah.
and it's sad this doesn't exist anymore. I mean, like, because like
Right.
back in the day when you retired, I mean, it was very common for a company to give you a gold watch when you retired.
Right.
Like something like this ring for 25 years.
Right.
Nowadays, it's like, nothing,
done.
nothing.
Right.
But back in the day, that was very common. You
Right.
reached milestones with a company.
Yes.
And it was just the way America was back. I mean, the 20th century, up until like 1965,
Yeah.
1965,
Yeah.
it was an amazing part of American history because
Yep.
literally, you went and got a job.
Yep.
You planned on working there your entire life.
Right. Right.
With a retirement package at the end.
Uh-huh.
The entire time you worked there, there was been, a medical program, things like that. And it's kind of sad it doesn't exist anymore, but that
I
is
agree.
something, but
I don't
never
know. I
seen-
can't imagine working here my whole life.
Yeah. Imagine it, baby. You're about
you
to.
basically have worked here your whole life.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So how long you worked here? 22 years?
Half my life.
Yeah.
Over half your life.
Over half my life. Yeah.
See, but I don't know what anything like that's worth. To me, it's worth everything because it was my Aunt Mary's, and I think it's so extremely cool that Ford Motor Company
No, that
did
is
stuff like
really,
that back
really
in the-
cool. I mean,
It's a neat
because
piece.
It just goes to show like how different things used to be. Like
Yeah.
it used to
Yeah.
be back in the day, like you'd graduate high school and
Yep.
like, I mean, especially the Midwest and the East Coast, things like that. Where do you want to go to work? And like
Yeah.
you get a job and you plan on working there for the rest of your life.
Right.
Right.
Well, as a car guy, I get asked all the time too. Are you a Chevy guy? Are you a Ford guy? Are you a Mopar guy? As a true car guy, I'm all of them. I love them all because there's something there to love for all of them. But my heart, I have a huge emotional attachment to Ford Motor Company because Ford Motor Company took care of my family for decades in Detroit. And so I will always have a love and an affirmation for
Okay,
Ford
so like
Motor
me
Company.
and my son-in-law, who's a definite Chevy guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am definitely a Ford truck guy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we constantly send each other like little videos, like on Instagram.
Yeah.
I said one's bashing on Chevy, and he was
Right.
just bashing on Ford. Yeah.
Right, absolutely, because that's what we do as car guys. But as a company, those Ford took care of my family, and so I'll always love them for that. Because my grandparents, they came from Yugoslavia, on a boat as young people, and settled in Detroit, and raised the family there, and everybody worked at Ford. And it was
And
it
I
was a
can't
cool
see
thing.
why anyone would buy a Chevy truck when they could buy a Ford.
I love it. All right, and I brought one more artifact, if it's cool, and that's my phone. Just wanted to
Yeah,
share
I know.
this.
I've seen your
Congratulations
Just wanted
on
to
that,
share this
dude.
with you.
So
Yeah,
what's it like?
as
Not
well.
like how do you stay on that regular? I don't even know what to call that.
Yeah,
You don't
man.
have
That,
do you even get an email
that is
on
a
that phone?
Instagram, Twitter,
Yes.
Facebook.
I bet that feels so good.
Compatible phone.
This is absolute pure heaven.
It's a
This is-
Nokia.
Yes.
Okay, no,
Yes.
you know what? I should almost go to that.
Amen. It makes calls and it takes calls.
Yeah. See, I pretty much only use my phone for that, and I will occasionally check my email. I do have my social media sites, but I don't. If I post something, I post it. I don't get all and watch
Well,
it
no,
and do
because,
all
like,
this and that and the
I
other.
mean, it's
Rick, on the other hand, he spends hours a day playing games and watching Instagram and TikTok.
Oh no.
videos.
Most of what
He'll tell you all he does is read,
I mean,
but he
okay,
spends
so
so
first
much
off,
time.
I don't even have TikTok on my phone.
Yes, you do.
If it's there, I don't know where it's at. Okay, but like, no, I mean, I just
I got
go
nothing.
batshit crazy because all it
Yeah.
is like email after email.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
not.
I just
you-
have my all notifications set to not answer.
I see it happen to people. Here's the thing with the smartphones. I respect that tool. That tool is amazing. This thing fits in your pocket, and it is literally a supercomputer that does everything. It's an amazing tool. What it has done to society and humanity, I got no interest in it. I got
Okay,
no
so like
interest in
all
it.
my kids are like basically grown now, but even
Yeah.
to this day, if I go
Yeah.
out to dinner with my kids are in town or something, I go to,
Yeah.
and they start playing on their phone, I flip the fuck out. When they're kids,
Right.
if they pulled out their phone when we went to dinner somewhere,
Yep.
I'm like, it was like,
Not
why the
now.
hell are we here? And so
Right.
when I look around a restaurant and see a family
Yep.
at a nice restaurant, I mean like a pricey restaurant,
Right.
and they're all,
Yep. Not
no,
now.
are you kidding me?
The
Makes me
mark of the
crazy.
beast.
Yep, it makes me. It is. It is. It makes me crazy. I like I said, I so respect the tool, and I get it. I get the necessity and the need for the tool. I
Okay,
You
can't
need
do it.
massive discipline to.
Hey,
Big time.
I am
use
better
it.
now because I am engaged and I have a fiance or something. Like, well, when I'm up my ranch in Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
you can only use your phone like close to the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's where the Wi-Fi's at.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm out there like in the woods working on stuff, you know, like cutting down trees, working on stuff, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll just forget to turn my phone on for
Yeah.
a few days.
Right.
And
Right.
that is just so nice.
Feels
and
nice,
like,
doesn't it?
Nowadays they talk about like young people, they have withdrawals from phones.
Yeah, no, I leave my ringer off. I have all notifications off. I don't even know when I get text or
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
When I pick my phone up and look at it,
Yeah.
I decide whether I want to call that person back or respond to a text message. And 99% of the time, even my best of friends, like we'll be hanging out with someone else and be like, oh, I called you, I text you, you never answer. I'll look at my best friend and go, hey, tell him how much I answer. He goes, dude, he doesn't even text me back. It's like,
But
Yeah,
see,
I
that's
mean, you even do
refreshing
that
that
to
you
your
handle
boss.
it that way.
yeah.
You know,
What?
You even do that to your boss.
Well, you know, as long as the paycheck still checks, I'm good, baby.
if we
Let's
could go back, if we could go back to pagers and payphones, I would select that in a heartbeat.
Okay,
Because
no, like literally, if I could go back in time
Yeah.
and change one thing,
yeah,
It would
I
be
would-
that you still had hair. You
I
set
would-
me up. I couldn't let that
I would
slide.
buy
I had
stock in
multiple
Apple
things
in
that would be-
1980, but
I would
anyway.
get rid of cameras
Yeah,
on
yeah.
cell phones
Yeah.
and get rid of social media.
100%. 100%. It is the downfall of society and humanity.
Just remember
is
we used to
social
call it-
media in your pocket. It's the
Remember
worst
we
thing.
used to make a landline phone call to
Yep.
your friends and like,
Yep.
we're going to meet here.
Yep.
And you had to be there.
Yep.
And if you weren't there, you were out for the
But
night.
it's also the greatest thing society's ever seen because at the tip of your finger, you have the answer to any question that you ever want
But
to
I
answer.
know it's the
if
greatest.
it's the real answer. There's so much BS on the internet. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, now with
I don't even
AI,
know, I don't
you
even know what
can
to believe anymore.
Now with AI, you can get a more solid, real answer.
Yeah,
by
but the problem
continuing-
with that
But that's
is now
wrong.
with AI is that really you or is that an AI you?
No, like an AI. What do they call it? A chat talks whatever.
I don't
know what to
GPT,
call
a
it.
chat box or whatever.
Yeah, chat
no,
box or
no, here's the
whatever.
thing. It's just
I actually use AI for so much. I'll sit and talk with AI for a whole week and like dial down a in-depth business plan on like how to take the next.
I mean,
step of my
literally.
business.
Okay, we've invented.
But that's what I use technology
You
for.
take like
I don't
the
do
latest-
social media.
Yeah.
The latest iPhone. I mean,
Yeah.
the greatest educational tool ever imaginable.
Right.
And we watch it, and everyone uses it for porn and videos where people kick each other in the nuts.
Well, yeah, and then with
I mean,
social
yeah.
media, people just attack each other constantly on social media, and they talk so much garbage, and it's just. I can't stomach it.
Well,
I just can't stomach it.
you know, like I'm engaged. I mean, I've been with Angie for a long time now. Like, you know, we're getting married and everything like that.
Congrats.
And she posts that stuff on those. And you know, she's pretty. Like everyone knows who she is, so she'll post something on social media.
Yeah.
And she'll go like, you know, like I'm going like, honey, just don't never ever read the comments.
Right.
Because
That's
these
like
are
the
just
difference.
nobody people.
Evil.
Yeah, like they're nobody.
Right.
Like,
I
why do you care?
refuse to put a picture of my girl online. I
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
for over 7 years.
Yeah.
Because 7 years ago, I realized that it puts them in a position that they're not. Like I've
right.
gotten like I've had a little bit of, you know, oh, why don't you post me than that? I go, well, this is why. And all of my girlfriends have seen it. I've always felt like there's no reason for me to put you through what I have to go to, because I happened when I was posting my
Yeah.
girlfriends at the
No,
time.
but like
Absolutely.
And it's
I-
much better
Yep.
when the world doesn't have access to your
Yep,
personal life.
I would never. It's when you know, when we were shooting stuff, you know, in the early days, you know, they wanted personal stuff from me, family stuff, things like that. That was a hard no. I will not do that to people that I love. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to them. No way.
Well,
No, no.
Danny, I think it's pretty good talk with you. I don't know if Rick
I've
has any
enjoyed the heck
questions.
out of this,
Is there
man.
anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Yeah,
today?
let's do
No, I
the,
think that. I mean, like, I just think that.
I
this
said
is
Danny.
I think this is our best podcast.
I said Danny.
Amen.
Is there anything you want to say?
Oh, I thought you said Rick.
I did, but we're gonna go with Danny first because he's just more important than you today.
Well,
Just
first,
today, right?
First here, pour me a little bit more. That would be.
Yeah,
That would
all
be
right.
I
Here we go.
need just a splash. Well,
You need a splash, maybe,
yeah, I
or-
need. Well, we'll do. Yeah, I need a splash.
Yeah, I put a splash back in mine too.
All right. That's perfect. Okay,
I'll
I
splash you up, baby.
yeah. All right, I can't help myself. I just can't help. Like, it's the Rick nerd. Do you know why people clink glasses when they toast?
Why?
Okay, it's because when you drink wine, whiskey, or something like that, in camaraderie with your friends, it excites the senses of your eyes, your nose.
All right. Well, I
Okay.
think
Okay.
Danny was about
Your
to make
taste.
a toast.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
you can feel the glass. You can feel it go down your throat,
Okay.
but it doesn't do anything for the ears.
Very nice.
So when you drink with your friends and you clink glasses together, you excite
All of the senses.
All the senses.
I did not know that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the next episode of Wikipedia.
Amen. Wikipedia, I love it. Let's plan
To
on doing
an amazing
doing
life.
the
and
cruise.
then we're all blessed.
Amen. Cheers. God bless you guys. Remember. Lastly.
All right.
Lastly, the last thing I'm going to say is the good Lord above is in His heaven.
Yes.
He's watching over His kids here on this earth.
And the last time we were together, we were at Mohegan Sun at
right.
a mobile home convention.
That's exactly right. Absolutely, we were. But don't ever forget, He's watching over us.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
it's
Amen
been
to
great,
that.
Danny.
Amen.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And
God
may
bless you
your years
guys.
be blessed.
Thank you for
Yeah.
everything.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for everything. Cheers.
This is Pawn After Dark.